And when I called it. The New York Times editorial board calls on Biden to drop out. His candidacy is, quote, a reckless gamble for democracy. Let's get into it. This has never happened in the history of modern democracy in America. We have never seen a major publication call on a sitting president to drop out of an election at the national scale. It goes on to say, President Biden has rightfully described the stakes in this November's presidential election as nothing less than the future of American democracy, the editorial board began with. Biden has said that he is the candidate with the best chances of taking on this threat of tyranny and defeating it. His argument rests largely on the fact that he beat Trump in 2020. That is no longer sufficient rationale for why Biden should be the Democratic nominee this year. They went on to basically eviscerate Biden, which is not helpful, particularly right now, if I'm being honest, offering a blunt assessment saying Biden is simply not the man he was 4 years ago. What we saw last night was the shadow of a great public servant. He struggled to explain what he would accomplish in his second term. He struggled to respond to Mr. Trump's provocations. He struggled to hold Mr. Trump accountable for his lies, his failures, and his chilling plans. More than once, he struggled to make it to the end of a sentence. Mr. Biden has been an admirable president under his leadership, blah, 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 but it is time for him to step aside. I've been saying for a month that the debate was never about eliminating third parties, that it was always about getting Biden out. But what does that mean? What is more authoritarian than denying an entire party a primary to then later decide for them who their candidate should be? They denied Democratic voters a primary for their candidate, and now they are looking to supplant him and just put in the candidate of their choosing without allowing the American population to have a say in that decision. That is not okay. And when we already have claims of authoritarianism on one party and now we're getting them on the other side, we have a problem, because when you go far enough right, you come back around to the left. Okay, period. We are a population that must demand more from our politicians. We must demand democracy. We must demand our voices be heard, and that nobody be making those decisions for us. I'm going to be covering this in detail, but I am at VidCon, and I have a lot of work to do. I've got to get to it. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany. We work together to fight private equity, to save small businesses in our community, and to hold politicians accountable to their voters, their constituents, their communities, and the people they are meant to serve.